All right, folks. So, what we are doing today, and oops, I just realized that I forgot my last little guy on here, is you are going to take your final drawing once you've drawn all the things on here. And now that we know about positive and negative space, what we have to decide is where we're going with this is we're going to take sections of this, and you can see we're going to cut it out so that we have a stencil to use, so that we're going to have two colors on our final design. In order to do that, we have to take our drawing and figure out where do we want the positive space and where do we want the negative space. So, the trick is that when you have pieces like this, it's not that easy to just have this be positive, this be negative, this be positive. Then what happens to this? So you've got to really think about and strategize and maybe even add more. So you're going to do this lightly at first because you're going to have to figure it out as you go, and you might end up erasing. So if I look here, I want these hearts to be positive, so the space next to them is going to be negative, which means this space here, in order for this to work, this space here has to be positive. Now, if I want these to show up, right now there's no way for that to happen. Because if I make them negative, then my background has to be positive, and I don't want to have to do that. Because I want my background, for the most part, hold on, off on that. So, what I'm going to do, to make it so that these guys stand out, I'm going to add a negative shape. So I'm going to add this negative shape here so that this gets cut out. There we go. And then if my background is cut out, this thing it's going to add, some of your shapes are going to get a little bit abstracted. So I'm going to choose to make my background, for the most part, stand out. Now, that means this line here is going to disappear. If I want to see any of it, maybe I add just a little bit of it. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Okay, hold on. I got to think this through. So, this is going to require a lot of thinking and some erasing. So, if that's negative, that's positive, that's positive. This is going to be negative. Uh-oh, now I've got two positives again. I'm going to lose this shape. So maybe I take a little bit of a negative and create this, which means this line here is going to disappear. There we go. Okay, and maybe I take a little bit of a line here. There we go. So now I can kind of see how I see a little bit of that silhouette, even if I don't see the entire thing. The same thing's going to happen up here. These are going to disappear because I'm not going to be able to see them. They're going to be part of that whole design. So maybe what I want to do is get this line here to cut out. So you're going to be making some silhouettes. You're going to be making some shapes that end up getting cut. So there, that's positive, that's positive, that's positive. If I add this negative shape in here, there we go. And now if we look at that, we get a little bit of that silhouette. All right, so then I come down here, all of this can be negative and cut out. And then I'm actually only going to cut a little bit of this triangle out so that that whole positive space ties to the edge. The more that you tie to the edge, the stronger your stencil is going to be. Then this space in here would be negative. And maybe I even cut into that hammer a little bit so I see that whole negative space. And maybe I cut into that hammer over here. But that means these lines here are going to disappear. Oh, well, I don't like that. I want to keep this heart. So I need a piece of this. Maybe I cut in a little bit here and here. So as you see, I'm kind of doing that. So now I don't want you to do this yet until you get approved, but I want you to see what it's going to look like. Once I am done and I've done everything, I'm going to follow these lines. So let's see. And I can cut out my negative spaces. Let's see what my final design is going to look like. At least this top or upper portion. So I'm going to have that. I'm going to cut this here. There we go. So now when I go to print, those things are going to print. And then I would go down here and I would cut out this little piece. And I would cut out this piece. And I would take my time and use the tips of my scissors and cut around all these shapes. So as you are doing this, you're going to simplify your shapes. You're going to erase any overlapping lines so that it becomes one silhouette. If you have any, when you go to cut, and you've been approved to cut, if you have any interior spaces, you're going to fold a little bit so you can stick your scissors in there. And you're going to cut any interior spaces. So this, when you get to this step, it's going to simplify your shapes so that you end up with a stencil. You want to make sure, see how when I did this one here, I made sure it was connected. So you want all your positive shapes to be connected to each other so they're not floating. And then you're going to cut out all your negative shapes. All right, so go work on shading in your negative shapes. Do not cut until Ms. Chesser gives you an approval.